Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Watch this video. Really appreciated the comments you had on the colors. Glad no one was offended that I've heard of yet. Today, I'm hoping to work on getting this fuel tank. You guys had some really great ideas of what to do with this, and I believe I've settled on somebody mentioned just drug glides, basically, so that I can have it in there. So it would set out here, just pull it in or out. I think it can sit a lot better and I won't have to worry about the weight of it being on a door, because when this is full, it'll be just under 20 pounds in weight, and that's a lot to put on a door. So if I have a sliding track, that should work pretty good. So I'll build a table for that, mounted onto these. I also wanted to mention this thing is for sale. I don't want to own it. It's too big an investment for me just to hang on to. Well, I mean, I could, and I might even take it out for a ride or two just to try it out. But currently, I have about $8,500 into it, as you see it, including the trailer, materials, and labor. And there's a lot of, most of the components are here in the shop that I'll be putting into it. I have the sink and the heater and the cook stove. I have all the insulation, wiring, the what little plumbing there is. I have that. Pretty much, I've bought most everything, and I think it's going to come in under $15,000 when I'm done. There's still a long ways to go as far as once I finish the outside, getting all this trim work. I'm going to put that trim work on, and it's going to it'll be the apricot, same as the front and back. Outline everything with trim. Build the door. I have a window to put in here and one in the back, so that it'll be good ventilation this way as well as to the side. There'll be a lot of light in there. So I think I better get to work. Start building this critter here. I'm going to start with the first part, the track. It'll go over there, but so I want to just find out the length, and I've already marked it here. Going to cut it with, I love this little tool. I bought this about a year ago, just an electric hacksaw, basically. Works really good. It's almost too easy. If it was a hand hacksaw, I'd be going forever. It'll mount here. I have to do some framework underneath to get this all set. Not sure I've got the right one here. So after that's set like that, there'll be a platform mounted on top of this, and then it'll slide right in there. So now I need to cut the end off of this one. In cutting these off, I eliminated that. There's a little part at the end that when it goes all the way in a regular drawer, that this would sit in and kind of lock it in place, sort of. I cut that off, but I don't need it in this application. You can see these bolts. These are what hold. There's 5 on each side. It's what holds everything, the Vardo, to the trailer. And then there's also 5 bolts that hold the deck on. So you can remove the deck, and you can remove these bolts, and the Vardo will slide right off the trailer with some tugging. So I've secured one of these over here, and I've secured this track over on this side. So I'm going to mount this one. This is really important to get the spacing exact. Otherwise, it won't work. 21 1/4. 21 1/4. And I just got a miscellaneous piece of scrap wood to mount this track. So I want to do the same over here so that they're the same height. So everything's coplanar. I love that word, coplanar. Oop. A 2-inch screw through 1.5 inches of wood is inappropriate. I got to get another screw. Generally I buy screws by the bucket. I'll buy a 30-pound bucket or so, or whatever they weigh, of each size. Okay, so I've got it flush here, same height, and the correct screw. All right, so now you can see, or maybe, I don't know if you can tell, but these slope to the back, so when I put the track, put that in, it'll just slide. I don't know if the trailer's level, slide to the back. So now I'll make a piece of plywood, cut a piece of plywood to fit here, and then screw that in, and then it should, well, I'm going to secure these into these blocks of wood, both sides, first. I guess I'm going to have to use the regular screws that come with these because the head on these sheetrock screws is too big. So I got to go get those. They come with a package of screws, so I guess I'll use those. They're kind of light duty, but I'll make sure I put plenty in, fill in a bunch of the holes, eh? I need to leave it probably a little bit loose because it feels like these are dragging on the screws on this side for some reason. I don't know. So 20 3/8 is tight there. Same here. So I'm going to cut it at, I'm going to start with a 1/16 less. So I'll go 20 5/16 by 12. 20 5/16 by 12. Be right back. I made a piece of plywood. It's out of a 3/4, so that'd be good and stout. So now I can, there seems like there's good play there. So that'll pull these glides in a little bit. So now I'll take it out and I'll screw these together. All right, so now I'm going to set this right there. I want it flush on the top, and the wheel end I'm making flush to the end of the plywood. I braced that against something so I can push more easily. Kaya's been bonding with a chipmunk over there. I'm not sure the chipmunk thinks the same thing. For some reason, it gets progressively tighter at the back. I'm going to loosen this screw and just tap it out a little bit. Okay, so I actually have the back of the tracks too low. Me fix. All right, let's see. Okay, I like that. Slides well. The spacing is good. Just a modicum of movement allowed. So I'll put this screw back in. Good. So now I'll finish screwing these off, and then I've got to, so then after that I need to make a vertical piece to hold this upright so that we can pull it out. I guess I'll mount it right out here. Yep. So pull it out, we can fill it, Somebody asked, oh, there is, okay. They wanted to know if the cap was vented, and it is. So that when we mount the fuel line somewhere, it'll allow air to come in so that it won't get bound up and not track through the fluid. Okay, I'll screw that off, and I'll make a piece for vertical. I cut a piece 14 by 14. I made a line across here, so I know where I want to secure that. And then the tank will mount. Oh, I don't know. I guess that's all right. I want it mounted to this side of the plywood, just so you can see how much fuel is in there. I took a lot of marks and measurements, and I think I got it. I started the middle screw. Let's see if I can get these in there straight. Sometimes the grain of the plywood, once you get started and you're running a screw in there, the grain will actually help keep it straight to a degree. Now watch one blow out. There, that's good and solid. I will probably add 2 more up through. I don't want this moving around when it's, oh, look at that. Okay, so then I can bolt this to the plywood, and we should be good to go. All right, let's see. So this is all screwed on. That works real well. And then the tank. I've been stopped for about an hour in between what you're just seeing here, because there was an issue, potential issue, placing the tank. You get that out, so it's going that way. But the issue is this pump, and as well as there's a fuel filter that have to drill a hole here and get it to the heater. So one thing I wasn't sure of was the height of the tank. And I've looked at YouTube videos to see if there's a standard, and I didn't see that there was. So I'm just going to make an assumption that and this is supposed to be installed at an angle, and there's a flow indicator, there's an arrow that shows which way the fuel is supposed to be pumped. So I'm figuring on mounting it somewhere over here, kind of fixed, so it doesn't move, with a flexible fuel. There's also the filter, so those will be right in line. So when it comes out, the fuel line will have some free movement there. So I think I got that figured out. After an hour of looking on YouTube and seeing what other people did, I didn't see where they addressed the height of the tank. So I'm hoping by the time I get the filter and the pump here, I'll be at this elevation, and have to change the location of where I put the heater. It's going to be way down on the end, because I've been trying to find, this is like a whole new experimentation thing. I didn't want to have the heater here, make a hole through the door, and have it stick out here. It's going to be kind of permanently fixed. So I need to go all, I don't know if you can see this. Hold on. So the heater is going to be down in this compartment, because I've got to run out the back with the exhaust, which I think will be really great. But then there's some other issues that come up that I guess you'll see them as we go through this whole process. It's not a straightforward thing, but I'm gaining on it. So I'm going to mount the tank. Yeah, I might as well mount it. And then I have to drill a hole, and I have to mount this part and secure it. And I've seen some helpful YouTube videos on how to get this inside of here and screw it in place. So I'll be doing that. Well, first thing, let's secure this to the table. They send screws for attaching the tank to metal, because these are a cutter bit that doesn't, by the time you get through that part, it's already bored out the plywood. So I'm going to go with a regular sheetrock screw. Much better. This ain't going nowhere. It's solid. Okay, tank is mounted. Now I'll drill a hole here, and I'll use my expertise learned from YouTube Academy on how to get this inside, because you have to feed it through here and out. So it also needs to have a rubber grommet. Are those two different sizes? Nope. Okay. This will be affixed ahead of time in here, like that. So it says to use like a coat hanger or something. Feed it through there, and so I wonder what size hole you use. After much experimentation, I found a drill bit. I tried it through some other plastic to make sure that it's going to work. You have to make sure, absolutely sure, there's no burrs or anything when you go to drill this. So I'm going to drill a hole over here. You can see that little nub. I trimmed where they seamed it together. I trimmed that so it's nice and smooth. There's another nub under there if you wanted to turn it 90 degrees. So here goes ruining a hole, putting a hole. Hopefully nothing went inside. I don't know. And okay, so I had a bare piece of copper wire, and so I'll feed it through. It's a really tiny hole. I think I'm going to put a little bend, just so it doesn't come off. Let's see how good we are at threading the needle. This should be fun. 3 hours later. Oh, I can look in here. Almost there. Oh yeah, good. Good, and that pulled through very well. And there's a rubber washer. That actually went in there pretty easily. That's a 12 millimeter wrench. I don't do much with metric, but anyway, that's how they set it up. Just using the vice grips, or the needle nose, to hold the nozzle in place. Tighten that just a little bit more. Okay. There, all in place. So next would be, I guess, the fuel line. This is the fuel line that they send with you, or send with the kit. So it has this type of clamp. It's the squeeze type. so you can fit it over the hose. And then it tightens. I'm going to put it on here first. After much pushing and cajoling, it goes over that. There's a little ring right around there that makes it seal really well. So I'm confident it's on far enough. In here, I'll run the fuel filter. This is designed, they do show you in the diagram this being on this side and coming out this way. I like this filter because it just unscrews, and if you want to clean the filter, it comes out really, really easy. I'm sure. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, just comes out and you can clean that out. So that's kind of nice. It's a reusable filter. Got a nice O-ring in there, rubber O-ring, or whatever it's made out of. There, that one a little easier actually. Come on. Okay, so once I'm thinking I would like to kind of like fix this in place so it doesn't move. So I have this pulled out all the way. I'm going to read up on this just a minute. After saying that I would like to mount this somewhere, I looked further and I found that they provide this. It's a rubber holder, whatever you might want to call that, that will slide over this. I was kind of concerned about this because it's a little bit sounded like it was noisy on any of the videos I watched. So this will help insulate the sound from inside the Vardo. So I'm thinking I'll attach it somewhere right in here. There's a stud right there. Attach that at a slight angle because they recommend that, and it should be good. So I think I'm safe to. So I had to provide my own lag bolt though. They had, I don't think these would not work. So I don't know. So now I need a driver for that. I'll be back. All right, I found a socket. I got this holder thing, and I want it to go right about there at that angle. It's good. Shouldn't be any vibrating noise coming through that. It's going to be a bugger to push that on, isn't it? Hey, just do it. Good. Okay, that will insulate the sound really well. So now I'll pull this out. That's out all the way now. So that will give me, I'll leave some slack. Cut me some slack. Don't you talk back. Hear that little sound? Yeah. Don't forget that before you go pushing that on. You got these little protectors on so it doesn't get goop and pus in here. There's oil or something coming out of that. That's good. It should make it slippery to deal with. Actually, it helped it to slide on there better. Good. So that was easy. Good. Let's see if it shuts without any. Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, now we'll carry the line from here way down to that end where the heater is going to go. After I mount this, I guess I could mount that now. Run that line all the way down to where the heater's going to go. Where the heater's going to go. This is the actual heating unit, It has to be mounted down on that end. It has to be mounted this way. So it's going to complicate things a little bit, but that's the way it is. So it shows, or it looks like it's going to be a hard, difficult thing. That's the fuel line. This is the air inlet. That's the exhaust. So this plate is a mounting plate. I'm going to do these first. Mount this first because I think the last thing that I put on will be mounting it to the Vardo. So it has 4 nuts. And I rarely work with metric, but I do have sets of metric wrenches and sockets. No idea where they are. I think after the Vardo project is done, I have to clean out the shop again. So I have my metric adjustable wrench instead. This has a rubber gasket underneath this. I did not point that out, but so tighten this down. You can see the rubber gasket squirting up out of there. That's pretty good. Okay, so the heater will be set level, plumb, all of that. Needs to go that way a few inches so that the exhaust can come out over here. So I ran into a couple of situations. The fuel line is fine. That's perfect. Plenty of length. And it'll come up under there. I got the wire out, and so this end plugs into the pump back over here. The problem that I have is it doesn't reach. It's not long enough. So that's actually okay, because in watching some other videos, they talk about this tubing. It's really flexible. You can see it pinches off real easy. And they're saying that the pump, when it pumps fuel, will tend to expand this so it loses its drive. So they're recommending, other YouTubers recommending a nylon stiff cord hose. So I think I'm headed to town, see if I can find a different stiff nylon tubing instead of this. So when I do that, I'm going to move this over here more. Maybe even all the way over here. I'm not sure, but I'll pick up enough to redo that. So unfortunately, that's going to finish this video for today. I have some research to do and some running around. Hope you enjoyed this. We'll see you later. Have a great day. Really appreciate you folks watching. Thanks. See you later.